Welcome back to Chariot Palmistry, guys. In this video, we're going to have a look at the hands of Sadhguru. He's one of the most famous monks in all of India, and he's most well known actually throughout the world as leading the Isha Foundation. He's got books on inner engineering and a whole range of ancient yogic techniques that he's bringing out to the world. So we're going to look at his hands to answer two questions. Firstly, is he genuine? And secondly, what can we learn from him? So in this reading, we're going to be looking mostly at his left hand. Now, in palmistry, we look at the left hand of people to see what's happening inside their subconscious. So to figure out if someone's a real deal in terms of yoga and all that sort of thing, you got to look at the left hand. And what's really interesting over here is if we look at the headline, which is this line that curves around like that, it has its start in an area which is known as a Jupiter mount. And this is a very, very rare place for the headline to start. Basically, Jupiter in Hindu mythology is a teacher of the gods. So people who become gurus or teachers, they've got to have a lot of prominent energy in this area. And the headline is all about your mentality. Because this is on the left hand, this is his subconscious mentality. So subconsciously, he is born to be a teacher. But if we look at the path that this line goes through, it actually ends at the very center of the wrist. And this part of the hand is all about Ketu, which is a planet that rules your past lives. It's where you were before you came into this world. So we can draw a connection here between Sadhguru's past lives into his present life, just looking at this line over here. Within himself, he's born to be a teacher, but this is a calling that's coming from his past. In other words, this guy's a real deal. He's done all the meditation and all the Kriya exercises that he talks about. It's not just one of those TV gurus who's trying to scam you out of your money. His intention is to genuinely teach people and educate them. And one reason we can say that for certainty, if you look at the center of his hand, you'll notice there's no Saturn line here. A lot of people, even folks who start out in like a mundane life like you and I and become monks later on in life, they'll have a Saturn line. That's a line for work. So this guy isn't a career guru, he's a teaching guru, if that makes sense. What you'll also notice though is he's got this line that comes up towards his pinky finger. And the pinky finger, that's the area for Mercury. Mercury is all about communication, but it's also all about business too. And the Isha Foundation is, I believe, one of the largest religious organizations in the world. So this guy's got the business knack on how to grow an enterprise. He's just not interested in the money that comes out of it. The other thing we can say is because of that strong connection between Ketu, his past lives, and communications, which is what he does in this life, he's going to be wonderful at teaching everyone in like today's day and age about ancient techniques. Remember, Mercury is the youngest of all the planets in mythology. It's actually the son of Jupiter. So if we think of Jupiter as like all the knowledge your teacher has, Mercury is all the thinking that the students do. Both of those arrows point straight down into his past life. So this isn't just some quick-witted, bearded monk. This is a guy who knows his stuff, but it's not him speaking to you. It's his knowledge from his past life speaking to you. That's how we can say he's actually an authentic teacher, an authentic guru. Now I want to throw up the hands of another very famous monk. This one over here is a Dalai Lama. And what we're going to notice over here is that his headline also slopes a little bit like Sadhguru's, but it doesn't go all the way down into the Ketu mount. The Dalai Lama's headline goes right to the edge of the Ketu mount and the moon mount. And so the Dalai Lama's teaching and his energy is to tap into his past life, but also do it through the moon. Now the moon's like a terrestrial planet in the sense that it keeps you present in the world, in the here and now. So the Dalai Lama, although technically a monk, is also, at least once upon a time, a national leader. That's a variation between Sadhguru and the Dalai Lama. By the way, we're also going to notice that he's got this line starting up from Jupiter too at the beginning of his headline. And we're also going to notice he's got lines going straight up into Mercury as well. So through the Dalai Lama and through Sadhguru, we're actually seeing two sides of the same coin, but it's from two different perspectives. You see, one's a Buddhist and the other's a Hindu. I don't want this video to come across as like Hindus versus Buddhists or anything like that. Where I'm going with this is they're both holy monks and they're both trying to achieve the exact same thing. It's just that one of them starting up an organization without earning any money for it. The other guy's heading a religion without earning any money for it. So when you see the hands of teachers or somebody that you want to learn from, these are the areas to look at. Jupiter, Ketu, and Mercury. Now I'm going to throw up the hands of another person over here. This is Russel Brand, and he's probably the last person you think of as being in the same league as like Sadhguru or the Dalai Lama. But what we're going to notice over here though is you'll see on his right hand, his headline slopes pretty much the same as a Dalai Lama. He has a Saturn line, which is for work, but that comes right out of Ketu, and he's got a Mercury line as well. Meaning that Russel Brand, his goal is basically to get into the same league as the Dalai Lama and Sadhguru. But because he's going to run his energy through Saturn instead of directly through Ketu, he's going to have to go through the world or through worldly pursuits in order to get to that end goal. So Russel Brand's a case of, not somebody who was born to be a monk. He's more a case of somebody who's gone from a sinner to a saint. Remember, in the past, Russel Brand was actually once a drug addict. And my prediction is at some point in the future, he's going to be held in extremely high esteem among spiritual circles. So bringing this conversation back to Sadhguru, he wasn't born to be a guru. He was actually his past life as a monk that pushed him into becoming a guru and a teacher in this life. And that's the way the karma works. If you want to know what your future is, you've got to look at where your past. Now, if you guys do want to learn more about Russel Brand's hands, I did a video on that. You can click on that on this link here. Otherwise, if you want to learn about the Dalai Lama, click on this link. Thanks a lot, guys.